The term lucid dreaming is relatively new, but there is evidence the phenomena is as old as humanity. A lucid dream occurs when you become aware of the fact that you are dreaming and fully conscious of the experience even though your body is asleep. The first lucid dream I remember having 2 decades before I began intentionally incubating lucid dreams was when I was 22 years old and living on the rebellious edge in Chicago. I dreamed I was walking through an empty parking lot where I stopped to buy ice cream from a vendor. I handed him some money and he returned my change. "This is too much," I protested, but he insisted I keep it. I knew then I was dreaming, because in real life no one gives you money. I shrugged, slipped the $5 bill into the right pocket of my black jacket, and woke up. Less than 20 minutes later, just after sunrise, I was leaning against the wall of a fast food restaurant, waiting for a friend to pick me up as I stared despondently across a mostly empty parking lot. A slender black man with a kind face paused beside me, asked me if I was hungry, and offered to buy me breakfast. When he handed me his card, I realized he was a social worker. I smiled and told him I was fine. He said, "Well, if you won't join me for breakfast, at least buy yourself something to eat," as he slipped a bill into the right pocket of my jacket, the same jacket I had been wearing in the dream. I waited until he had entered the restaurant before pulling out the money. It was a $5 bill. I will never forget that morning. I felt I had been given a clear message. Dreams can and do come true. Believe it. I know, there is a spiritual dimension to lucid dreaming that transcends the mere sport of it. I embrace both fully lucid dreams and what I call semi-lucid dreams in my practice. Semi-lucid dreams are often much more profoundly affecting to me than many of my lucid dreams. In semi-lucid dreams, I am in full possession of my faculties. I just don't have that, aha, I'm dreaming moment. And I feel strongly that it's because I don't want or need to have it. I was raised Catholic, but only went to Sunday school for 1 year when I was still too young to remember any of it. All my life I attended public schools, except for in 7th and 8th grade when I went to St. Leo's in Fairfax, Virginia. I have always felt a deep love for Christ, and even though as an adult I became detached from my Christianity, I never stopped believing in the divinity of Christ, who was always there in the back of my mind, secreted away in my heart. Lucid and semi-lucid dreams cannot simply be dismissed as conscious or subconscious reflections of religious and mystical experiences I was already intimately familiar with. Not understanding the Holy Trinity, I did not know that it was possible to experience God personally. I had the following dream early in 2009. I did not even bother to write it down because I knew I would never forget it. I am sitting in a dark stone cellar or tomb. A darkly tanned man is lying beside me on a stone bed wrapped in a white sheet, oddly immobile even though his eyes are open, and I distinctly feel the power of his consciousness. On the black wall beside him hang 3 dark gray masks with empty eye sockets that look ancient and yet also somehow timeless. I am sitting right next to him, and I know he will soon rise again. In preparation for this, I ascend a narrow stairwell to the ground floor of a large, white, unfurnished house with glass walls. I am followed by a procession of people, both men and women, all of us dressed in colorful, flowing garments. Like the point of an arrowhead, I lead the way to the front of the house, 2 rows of kindred spirits fanning out behind me. We take positions in front of the glass walls, which may as well not be there. Our hair and clothing stream behind us from the force of the wind blowing from every direction straight toward us across a hazy twilight landscape of green fields, forests, and mountains. It is a dangerously powerful wind, but my soul exults in it. I didn't realize it at the time, but this dream was when it all began for me, more than 2 years before I began lucid dreaming regularly and intelligently. The occasional times I woke up in a dream, I invariably began flying. I had never even heard the term lucid dreaming, and I called them flying dreams because that was the first thing I did when I became lucid. During these early lucid dreams, I barely scratched the surface of lucidity. I didn't realize I could do anything besides feel fantastic and invulnerable. These dreams were also akin to sightseeing tours because I would fly over whole towns and cities and landscapes and see them in such vivid detail it made me want to cry when I woke up that I couldn't remember everything more clearly. This dream, brief but powerful, is an example of what I refer to as a semi-lucid dream. When I woke up, I felt exhilarated, but really didn't know what to make of it. The man, wrapped tightly up in a white shroud, I simply filed under one of my favorite headings, Ancient Egypt. I had, after all, just finished writing a massive fictional biography of the female pharaoh, Hatshepsut-Ma'at-Kare. I thought that perhaps the man in my dream represented one of the great kings of pre-dynastic Egypt. The 3 powerfully enigmatic masks, which I saw hanging above the man in my dream, had looked and felt almost impossibly old. But thinking about them when I woke up, I couldn't place them in any historical time period and culture I was familiar with. I certainly had no clue how the masks might relate to the wind in my dream, which had made me feel that something transcendent was heading my way. I felt this wind was much more than just the proverbial wind of change blowing through my personal life. My husband and I were preparing to sell our house and move to another state. At the time, I could not connect the different pieces of the dream together in a way that completely worked and truly satisfied me. Now I understand that the man wrapped in a white shroud and lying in a stone tomb, from which I knew he would soon rise again, represented Christ. The awesome, timeless mystery of the 3 masks was the Holy Trinity, and the wind that made me feel so intensely alive and hopeful, poised on the brink of a life-changing event, was the Holy Spirit, beginning to blow through my dreams into my soul.